We begin with a Fox News alert. President Biden pardoning his son Hunter despite previously saying he would not use the pardon power on his son. Both Democrats and Republicans criticizing the move, with one Democrat lawmaker saying Biden, quote, got this one wrong. You're watching Fox and Friends First here on a Monday morning. I am Todd Pyro. Carly Shimkus has the day off. Madeline Rivera is in Washington with more on the president pardoning the first son. Maddie.
Good morning, Todd. The president has long said he would respect the rule of law, trying to distinguish himself from President-elect Trump, who has accused the Justice Department of being politicized. But the president says he does feel Hunter has been unfairly targeted. In a statement, the president says, from the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it led to a miscarriage of justice. Time and time again, the White House and the president have said he would not pardon Hunter or commute his sentence. The White House at times getting frustrated when asked multiple times about the possibility.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Reaction from Democrats have been mixed. Colorado's Governor Jared Polis saying, I am disappointed that he put his family ahead of the country. This is a bad precedent that could be abused by later presidents. Arizona Congressman Greg Stanton saying, I respect President Biden, but I think he got this one wrong. This was not a politically motivated prosecution. Hunter committed felonies and was convicted by a jury of his peers. President-elect Trump weighing in as well, saying, does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the J6 hostages who have now been in prison for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Hunter's sentencing hearings were scheduled for December 12th for his gun case and December 16th for his tax case. Todd.
Madeline Rivera live for us this morning. Maddie, thank you.
You got it.
Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Lexie Rigden. And Lexie, pretty simple, short question right off the top. What changed?
I don't really think anything changed. I honestly think this was probably his plan all along. What changed, one of the things that changed is that he's not running anymore. And it has been such a terrible political season for Democrats with Kamala's defeat that I think at this point he figured, I have nothing to lose. I'm in the twilight of my years. I mean, I think he's 81 years old. He was kicked out by his own party. He was basically forced not to run. And then the greatest injustice to him is that after an objectively bad candidate who can't string a sentence together loses, then the establishment blames him for not getting out sooner. And so I think that if I were Joe Biden, I probably would have put a finger in the eye to everybody and said, you know what, my highest and best priority is now just taking care of my son. And I don't care what people think. I'm never going to please the Republicans. And I don't care about the Democrats who stabbed me in the back.
I think that's the explanation. The only thing that changed in my mind, the election is over. To your point about him not having really sort of anybody he's beholden to anymore, and the candidate that replaced him getting beat soundly. I want to focus on the law now, Lexie. The pardons language covers all offenses, including ones he has not yet been charged for. Is that how pardons work? Sort of this blanket immunity for all illegality, regardless of whether it's been discovered yet?
Well, that is very interesting. It's very broad and sweeping, and it covers a 10-year period. And you look at presidents who have pardoned family members before. In the case of Roger Clinton, he had already served his sentence. Same with Jared Kushner's father. So this is broad and sweeping because it not only prevents him from serving a sentence, but it forgives him for any crimes against the United States that he may have committed in a period of 10 years. So it definitely is. It's definitely a very broad pardon. And if you actually look online about how a normal person applies for a pardon, normal people aren't even supposed to apply for them until a certain period of time after serving their sentence. And so obviously this has been done before in the case of Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon for and when he hadn't been convicted or indicted or anything like that. So it's not necessarily unprecedented to have a controversial pardon, but given that this is his son and given the amount of times that he said that he wasn't going to do this, and his staff, Karine Jean-Pierre, kind of, rolling her eyes and annoyed that she's getting the question again, this is pretty big news. But when I heard about it, I was not surprised.
So what you're telling me is it is not normal in the pardon setting for somebody to publish an article in the Washington Post, have your defense team publish an article in Washington. Interesting. Noted. I'll make a note of that for next time.
Yes.
Joe Biden said he issued the pardon after he watched his son be selectively and unfairly prosecuted. But wasn't it Joe Biden's DOJ that prosecuted Hunter?
It was. And you know how everyone's joking online when they see Biden with the big grin with Trump in the office, maybe he really did vote for him after all. I mean, they're now singing off the same song sheet, at least when it comes to the DOJ, that you can't look at you can't look at necessarily just one prosecution and say it's politically motivated, right? My son's was politically motivated, but nobody else's was. And so this is just a very interesting turn of events. It is his own DOJ, and they've been touting the merits of the cases against Trump, but, not against his son.
Quickly, before we let you go, what does this pardon mean for Joe Biden and the rest of the Biden families? Let's call them business dealings that have come under scrutiny.
Well, there's no reason. If they believe that Hunter is kind of like the nexus or the nucleus of those transactions, then there's no reason to look into them any further if he was pardoned. Who knows? There
you go. Hey, this seems to have worked out pretty well for Joe as well. Interesting how that worked out. Lexie Rigden, thanks for joining us. Breaking News Morning. We appreciate you.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.